Well, it's a very good evening to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice. It's been quite a while. And so thank you all for joining me. And I hope you enjoy the show. It's been, I might be a little bit rusty. I did a show on Friday night, live show with Nigel. But when you've got someone, you're able to chat with, it kind of makes it a lot easier because there's no detail to remember. You just sort of come off, top of your head. What are we going to discuss? And off we go. And tonight's show, as you know, for those of you who've first time joining the West Ham Voice on a Monday night, this live show goes through the latest news really about West Ham United, and as usual, there's a lot of it, quite a lot of it. Not always good, of course, but we've come off the back of a win. We won a game for the first time since November the 8th, so that's something to celebrate, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on, of course. But the first thing we've got to talk about, unfortunately, is the Virtu Trophy. The under-21s were in action against Wimbledon tonight in the Virtu Trophy, and unfortunately, they succumbed to a 4-2 defeat. Gallant effort from the young lads, the under-21s, who they did go 3-0 down, which is quite unusual for the under-21s. They went 3-0 down, but they pulled it back. Josh Ajala and Lewis Orford scored 2 goals in the second half to get it back to 3-2. There were 5 additional minutes added on, but unfortunately, whilst they were chasing the equaliser, they succumbed to a sucker punch, and it was 4-2. So, unfortunately for the under-21s, a gallant effort. The only under-21s team that was still in the trophy, and it's such a shame that they couldn't see it through. But well done to them for getting as far as they did. We're going to talk about other things, aren't we? We're going to talk about less pleasant things like Lucas Paqueta, yet again in the news. He seems that he can never be out of the news, and usually for all the wrong reasons. I wish we, in the time that he spent at West Ham United, we could celebrate Lucas Paqueta, but unfortunately we can't, because if it's not about him being sent off, it's about him being accused of various things, spot fixing and so on. And now, of course, he wants to leave. And this time, the news that's coming out is quite different to all the previous transfer stories last summer, etc., etc. I think the only other transfer story that we could say with hand on heart had any element of truth in it with Lucas Paqueta was a couple of years back when he was on his way to Man City. But of course, the whole spots fixing issue scuppered that. But this time round, it feels quite real again. You can forget the Aston Villas and the Spurs links and all that sort of rubbish. You can forget the latest link, apparently, that Chelsea are interested in the player as well, because it seems that Lucas Paqueta has had his heart set on going to one place, and that's back to his boyhood club in Brazil, which is Flamengo. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, if you are new to the channel, thank you for joining. And if you are not yet a subscriber, then please do subscribe to the channel. It always shows, that you enjoy the content. You can subscribe by hitting, let me just put the little QR code up in the corner. After the show, you can click on that QR code and you can subscribe to West Ham Voice. If you enjoy the show, please do hit the like button that's below the video. Also hit the hype button, because that helps you to help me to promote the video itself. And I also have a membership scheme, only $1.99 a month if you're feeling generous. But all that money goes to Prostate Cancer UK. And to date, we've raised £540. Every pound that you give on the membership scheme, I double it. I add a pound. So far, 540 quid raised. So thank you for that, for listening to my rummaging on and etc. But let's start off, shall we? Let's start off with Lucas Paqueta, because it's like I said, it just feels frustrating that we can't get away. Now, actually, before I do, we've got another thing to talk about, haven't we? Something a little bit more interesting. We've got the fourth round of the FA Cup. We're all going to Burton Albion, or certainly some of us are. Now, we were laughing at the weekend that if we manage to beat QPR, I bet we'll get, Macclesfield, or otherwise it will be the obvious. It will be Liverpool away or Man City away or whatever. But no, we are partnered with Burton Albion. We are going to Burton Albion on the weekend of the 14th or the 15th of February. And I'd be honest with you, Sunwing U, we've never played them before in a competitive game, and looking forward to travelling up there. They beat Boreham Wood at the weekend in order to get through to the fourth round. They beat them 5-0. Now, Burton Albion, League One, currently languishing near the bottom of the table. But of course, that means we're all expecting a cup shock, can't we? You know, a team that's languishing in League One. We almost gave it away, didn't we, when we played QPR? But we'll save that for Burton Albion, what shall we? And let them be giant killers in the FA Cup. Look, the Pirelli Stadium holds 6,900 capacity, 6,912 capacity. Now, 15% of that is usually 1,000, give or take. So, but apparently the allocation for these kinds of games will go up to 1,400, and possibly they'll add additional stands in order to accommodate 1,800. We could have potentially 1,800 fans going to that stadium. So, something to look forward to. Now, let's get on to Lucas Paqueta. Because, as I said at the beginning of the show, you know, it's never anything great that we hear about Paqueta. Yes, of course, he's still sort of dining off the back of that pass in the Prague when it won us the trophy, and we'll be eternally grateful for that. But he's flattered to deceive more than anything else, hasn't he, really? You know, and like I said a moment ago, despite the stories linking him to the likes of Spurs and other teams, etc., it looks like Flamengo have apparently agreed or already agreed a deal with him, personal terms. But it's whether they can afford the price that we want. Now, a 40 million euro offer is apparently going to be made, but I'm not so sure if that's going to be enough. West Ham, or Nuno in particular, doesn't want to lose him. I think he's going to try everything he can do to try and keep the player here until the end of the season. We all expected him to leave at the end of the season anyway. And you remember all that stuff about holding the phone and throwing it away, about, you know, all these, when Aston Villa were interested and so on. And he sort of made out, no, I'm still here. I'm going to be here. What's happened? You know, he knows he's leaving at the end of the season anyway. Not that it's been written in anywhere, but it's a given, isn't it, really, that we all expect him to leave at the end of the season. So why all of a sudden he's going to leave halfway through the season? What's changed? You know, does he not relish the relegation fight? You know, because let's be really honest, he's as guilty of having us in this position as everybody else at West Ham United, whether it be the owners, whether it be the various managers we've had, or the team itself in not playing well. Lucas Paqueta is part of that. Is he what now? Is he not relishing being in that position? It's quite interesting because early in the season, when we started to look like we were suffering a little bit, I did a show about Paqueta. I did a pre-recorded video, and I asked myself, is he really up for a relegation fight? And I kind of concluded that I didn't think he was. And it seems as if now he's proving me right, and proving many others right that believe that he wasn't really up for a fight. And it's such a shame. It's a bit of a downer considering where we are, you know, the position that we're in, West Ham United, and to actually now have someone like Paqueta wanting to leave. It's a bit of a smack in the face, given that we've backed him during the spot fixing charges and so on and so forth. And for me, I think it's quite vital because it's not only going to affect, you know, the team, although I personally think that we play better without him, but it will affect it will affect the team in different ways. And when they see a player like that wanting to leave, it's like jumping off a sinking ship. And how is it going to impact on the rest of the squad? And how is it going to impact on Nuno? Because this reminds me of what happened in 2017. If you recall, back in 2017, we had this process all over again. We've been through this as West Ham fans quite a number of times, I think. Payet was probably the most recent that I can remember, where he didn't want to stay. And that not only disrupted the squad outright, but it also really had an impact on Slaven Bilic, who really wanted Payet to stay. And you could see in his demeanor that Bilic was really quite personally affected by Payet leaving. And I just wonder whether the similar situation is going to happen with Nuno. I could be wrong. He's already bigged him up, hasn't he? He's already said, as far as I'm concerned, he's the best player. He's a number 10. He's got to be with us. He's our best player. When you big a player like that up, and all of a sudden they slap you in the face and go, "I'm off, mate." What then? How's Nuno going to respond to this? And I'm really quite worried how it's going to affect us. Now, I think if we can just get over this and just say, you know what, fair enough. We get enough money for you. You're off. You can go, mate. Farewell. When you think about the money he's on 150 grand a week, and if we do get, I would rather we get 40 million pounds rather than 40 million euros. Okay, couple of million difference, but it makes a big difference when you're going in the market trying to find a replacement for him. But you look at the money he's on, 150,000 pound a week, and if we can get 40 million for him, then that will give us, 75 grand a week for two players, two good players that could come in, would actually do us a lot of good. And I think if he's really determined that he wants to go, then let him go. Because even if for the immediate future, clearly he's not going to play against Spurs this coming weekend. I can't see it. I can't, given now that this has happened, I can't see him playing against Spurs. And he asked not to be chosen, not to be selected for the game against QPR. So I put it in the title. Has he gone on strike until he gets his move? That's a smack in the face. But if that's what he's done, then we're not going to see him this coming weekend against Spurs. But I think we can get other players in. We can, and I'll talk about transfers later on, by the way. I will be finishing the show with all the latest transfer gossip. There are one or two interesting ones that I'll talk to you about. But if we don't have him against Spurs, I think that's okay. Because what will happen is Fernandes will play further forward in that kind of that pivotal role, that number 10 role. And then you'll have the likes of Magassa. All right, Magassa didn't have a great game, but everyone can have a bad game. He didn't have a great game against QPR, but you'll have Magassa and you can have Potts sitting behind him. And then you got Somerville. Hey, welcome back, Jimmy Somerville. What a time to start finding your form. And even Bowen played really well, and Tati Castellanos played well. So if you have Fernandes sitting just behind with Somerville and Bowen either side, with the pivots of Potts, the pivots of Potts and Magassa behind, and with Tati Castellanos ahead, hey, I don't think we're going to miss him. Let's be really, really honest. Everyone that's, really scared that Paqueta's going to go, let's not forget the number of times we've all been bemoaning the fact that he slows the game down. He keeps giving the ball away. The number of times we've lost goals because of his, because of his lackadaisical approach to the game. Look, he's done good things, but as equally, the many good things he's done bad things. And he's Marmite, isn't he, for a lot of fans? There are a lot of fans that are going to be happy to see him go. There are a lot of fans that are going to be shitting themselves because he might go. But if he does go, and it looks like he will, then good luck to him. He goes to, what I would do as well? I will insist on £40 million, and I would also insist on a sizable sell-on fee, because if he goes to Flamengo and in a year or two's time, they think they're going to cash in on him and sell him to another big club in Europe, which could easily happen. Then if they sell him for more than we sold him to them for, then we put a sizable fee, selling on fee, then we'll get a little bit more money. I mean, it might not happen. Apparently, he loves Flamengo. Well, it's his boyhood club. But for me, that's what I do. 40 million on the table and a sell-on fee, and then he can go. And then we use that money to go into the transfer market, get ourselves a decent attacking midfielder, probably buy one and get one on loan, get them in, 70, 75 grand a week, split the money that Paqueta was on for two players, and I think we'll be fine. I really do. Is it going to be enough to be fine, as I've said, in order to get us out of danger? Ironically, I think we'll do better without him than we would with him. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to ask you what you think, because I'm going to try, if I can get this going, if I can remember how to do it, and still probably doesn't remember how to do a poll, but let's see if I can. If I can do a poll and ask you what you want. I'll start a poll. Paqueta. Yes for leaving. no for staying. So tell me, do you want him to go? A poll is up. Yes, if you want him to leave. No, if you want him to stay. And let's see what happens there. Anyway, before I carry on, let's go into the chat and say hello to people because there's quite a few people on. I'm chuffed. Always am. Seriously. It's been the last time I did a West Ham Weekly was September, just before my operation. So thank you all for coming back and watching me live. Really appreciate it. So good evening to you, Foxes. Good luck to Paqueta for wanting to go home. He's been great to watch at times. But we need consistency. Ed, good evening to you. I could only go on explosive behaviour a few weeks ago. I think Paqueta is under stress and needs to return home. I doubt we'll see the best of him again. Good luck with the thank you very much, Ed. And no, yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we'll see the best of him again. Bernie, good evening to you. He will not hang around now. We're heading to the championship, so sell him anyway. We need players who will be with us in the championship. I've never been a fan of forcing a player to play for us. I think that's fair comment, and I don't think we should force him. But does he not owe us the whole season? But anyway, like I said, I don't think we'll miss him. Jack, very simple. FO. Stephen, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Stephen, again, I heard Tottenham's bid 50 million. If Tottenham has bid 50 million for Paqueta, then they can have him. But I don't think they have. And because the last I heard, they bid 26 or they want to bid 26 million. If Paqueta playing for Tottenham or Flamengo or stay at West Ham this season, honestly, of the three, would I rather he stay or would I rather he go to Flamengo? If we get good money for him, then let him go to Flamengo. Richard, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Fans don't appreciate Paqueta. He's the fans' scapegoat, yet you can count on one hand the number of games in the Premier League since joining us. We have won without him. Mate, I would do an analysis of that, and I would probably wager that we haven't missed him as much as you think we have. Ironically, I think couple of the games that we played this season, we've either drawn or won when he's not been around. I could be wrong, but I will double check. And then it's not making him a scapegoat, Richard. I get what you're saying there. But I think, when you think about what Paqueta has done, of course he's been, in parts good. But in other parts, he's not been so good, has he? Let's be really honest. Let's be hand on heart here. Costa. Let's hope he puts in a transfer request if he's so desperate to leave. Least he could do is give up his loyalty bonus. Well, it isn't saying I don't want to play as good as saying I want to transfer. Good evening, Yuha. I hope you're well, mate. Good evening to you, Brendan. I hope you're well. How are you, mate? I think I was on time. Richard, pick on £40 million. Kilman, absolutely, totally agree. If there's a £40 million waste of money, it's Max Kilman. He has been a catastrophe. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. But there are a lot of players that do require, sometimes you've got to criticize, try and be critically, criticize in a constructive way, and I've said before with regards to Lucas Paqueta, it's been quite easy. He could do things, he could do the simple thing, he could do the easy things well. If he was doing the easy things well, then you'd allow him to get away with trying to do the hard things, the difficult things, and maybe not always coming off. And that's been the problem with Lucas Paqueta. He can't do this. He can't pass the ball from one player to another. He needs to mess around with it, and then he'll lose the ball, and then we're under the cosh. So I've always said for Paqueta, he's a class player. He's the most skillful player we probably have, I would wager. But sometimes he wants to hold on to the ball too much. He wants to be too skilled. He wants to show off sometimes. And the number of times that we've lost the ball when he's had it because he's trying to do one too many tricks and one too many things. But don't get me wrong. I credit to him for some of the things that he's done for us. But as Fox has said earlier on, we need consistency. He's not a consistent footballer. Who else have we got? Barney, good evening to you. I hope you're well. No cats, Yuha. Well, there is one cat. She's sleeping up there. I'm not going to disturb her. And we've still got a load of boxes everywhere as well. Evening to you, David. Bang on time-ish. Exactly. Bang on time-ish. Michael, good evening to you. I hope you're well. All good, mate. All good. Anthony, good evening. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Paul. How are you? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all feeling a little bit cheerful after having a win. I mean, the first win since November. Frog, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Dom. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. That live chat, yeah, it's always a pleasure having Nigel on. I don't even know how long we were on for. I was told something like over 2 hours. Could have been. 2026, always a good chat with him. And we will do it more regularly, maybe at least once every 3 or 4 weeks, but we will be on. 2026, Hammer of the Year of the Hammer. Go win the cup for King Billy. If we're well, the FA Cup, let's hope so. That would be nice. A Wembley trip. Martin, good evening. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. WHU, Mad, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Ballsy. How are you? And to you, Mark, as well. Brenda, Toha, will I be doing? I certainly will. I certainly will be doing Burton without a shadow of a doubt. The Bow Lane Lounge. Good evening, lads. I hope you're well. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Daniela, how are you? I hope you're well. Nice away day for you and Wiggy and Burton on Trent. Absolutely. Imagine the shirt he'll be wearing for that, David. Hey, imagine the shirt he'll be wearing for that. Let him go and get Conor Gallagher. I would love, to be honest, to go and get Conor Gallagher. I would love it. 25 years of age, still in his prime. Yeah, why not indeed? Good evening to you, Andy. I hope you're well, mate. Never a dull moment. Is there? Never a dull moment. You know, what do you expect from West Ham United? You know, if there isn't a drama, we'll create one anyway. Sharky, thank you, mate. Member for 4 months. Congratulations, Sharky. Great to see. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Member for 4 months. There you go. Become a member. $1.99 a month, and you get just a little bit of extra content. Sai, good evening, mate. We're linked with Eric Dyer. Yep, we are. Stop stealing my thunder. And I'll talk about him later. Gaza, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Arsenal and City are by. Well, of course. It's a cup competition. You don't want them to have it hard, do you? I think we've got hard. I tell you what, Burton Albion. Oh, Bruno, how are you, mate? Good to see you. And happy birthday, mate. I hope you had a good time. I know you had a good time. I saw you. Moutster, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Daniela, I think aren't taken into account that Paqueta is a young family and may want to bring them up in Brazil. Because that's a fair comment. That's a fair comment. I like that. I appreciate that. And that's a fair comment. But he could have done it at the end. Another 6 months wouldn't have hurt. Daniela. Chris, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. 1,400 away at Burton Albion, plus a possible 400 seats on the side. Absolutely. Looking forward to it already. Barney, let's hope we get a few wins between now and then. I hope that, Burton Albion's not the next win we get. Then I wouldn't look forward to it so much. What's the difference between selling everyone in the chat compared to Lucas Paqueta? The answer is we all give up. I do. Don't get me wrong. If he stays, absolutely fantastic, wonderful. If he wants to go and he's going to kick up a fuss, then just let him go. I do care. I don't. Or do you give? Is it me that doesn't give a? Anyway, explain it later. Adam, saw Burton Albion play Lincolnstone. They're a poor team. Good away day though. Yeah. Welcome West Ham United. Oh look, we're playing a poor team in League One. Hold my beer. West Ham United are in town. Yeah. Imagine if Burton Albion went 1-0 up. What then? Mr. Music, who is it, please? I don't know, Jonathan, because I got it free from YouTube years ago. And I tried to find that, and I downloaded it, and by downloading it I lost the name of the song. I don't know who it is. I've got no clue, but no one's claimed it, so it's mine. I created it. I genuinely, I think I'll try and find out if I can, Jonathan. I'll put it on next time. Hi, Stel. Mandy, I bet this Paqueta saga will run as Flamengo's highest ever signing was 25 mil. There you go, 25 mil. We're not going to let him go for that. 40 mil, take it. 40 million pounds, take it. 40 million euros. I don't know why I've got that stuck in my head. Just sounds better, I guess. 40 million pounds rather than 40 million euros. Lincoln are a good side. West Ham is shy. Good evening, John. It's already been rejected, Antonio. There you go. And I doubt very much. Well, let's see if they come back. Let's see if they come back and make another offer. Neil, good evening to you. When I heard he was on strike, I thought that that had been the case the last 24 months. Sad truth is, no point in having skillful, creative players when you have defensive coaches. Yeah, that's fair. Victor, good evening to you. Paqueta has been poor. If a player doesn't want to be here, get rid of him. It probably do us better if he goes rather than him being all, sort of stroppy in the background. Andrew, why don't we take some of their players plus all the money they can afford? We really need players for a fight, not flaning around, poor passes, poor attitude. I wonder if there are any players that we want. There have been a couple of times. He's no longer at Flamengo. I'm thinking of the Bruno, the defender, but I don't think he plays at Flamengo anymore, or does he? Can't remember. I know I did a show about him recently, but I wonder if there are any players that we might like to swap. Brian, in the last 2 years, has Paqueta had back-to-back games where he looks like a £40 million player? That's a good question. You know, you got to, I think that's fair. Paul, he asked not to play against QPR. He ruined King Billy's tribute day. We should buy him through. Betting scandal. So there are fans that aren't going to be too upset if Paqueta leaves. Ronnie, Paqueta offers nothing at the moment. If he wants to leave, we should get rid before he stinks the place out. Montana, still, we play better without Paqueta. Nuno should move on. I agree. I think Nuno should move on, and I think Nuno should start thinking about, we have looked better. With the greatest of respect, we have looked better when Paqueta's not been around. PA and Jack, I've never warned to him. Not good stats and a liability. Get rid of him. I think I know what the outcome of this. Yeah, I can see it. I can see the outcome already. Get rid of him. If you're doing the poll, yes is to let him go, no is to keep him, and I can see the results already. I'll bring them up in a little while. Brian, Nuno has to say that kind of crap. If Nuno forces Lucas to play, it will go horribly wrong. Yeah. Glenn, you love cats? We got 3 of them, mate. 3 cats in the house. Yeah, no room for me, just for the cats. Richard, Arnie was a trouble. Yes, Arnie, another one who also wanted to go. I remember his brother really pushing for him to go. I remember that one. Yeah. So we've had it, haven't we? We've had several times we've had that happen to us. If we had done this this pre-season, we might be able to buy a striker and a centre-back. Yeah, so there you go. If he was honest about it and told us he wanted to leave sooner, then we could have used that money more wisely in the summer transfer window. Two packet of good evening, Mr. Peters. I hope you well. I thought you'd be crying in your spice rum rather than being happy. Joan, we will do much better without that brat. God, it's interesting, isn't it? What people are thinking. Ed, I wish Paqueta all the best. Billy Bob, good evening to you. Somerville found his LVL. I don't know what that means, but thank goodness he's finally found whatever LVL is. Carpy, get rid, well overrated, as I've been saying for years. Andrew, Tom is top cat, so underrated. I know he's not the fastest, but he does more for the team than Lucas. Souček, and I've talked about that in the past as well, that Thomas Souček doesn't have the skill that Lucas Paqueta has. Absolutely, he doesn't. But when it comes to endeavour, when it comes to drive, when it comes to trying your best for the team, should he have been made captain of West Ham United? Harry, take the money, invest in some centre-backs, play Tati, and bring on Pablo. There you go. I think we've got options, haven't we? Did Nuno anticipate this might happen by going out and insisting on getting 2 strikers? Ian, Flamengo will lowball us. They will wait it out. And as the window ticks down, West Ham will buckle and sell at a value closer to 25 mil. Club can't even play hardball. I don't know if they will, I really honestly don't know, Ian. It's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Hornswaller, Paqueta has been a liability for 2 years. Betting scandals, always gives the ball away, leading to goals against us. Anthony Fernandez can certainly take the place of Paqueta. I certainly think he can. He plays either midfield or attacking midfield for. He's played that for Southampton. He's played that for the under 21 Portuguese team as well. Toha, Stella's talking at double speed this evening and can't keep up. I'm trying because I'm trying to catch up with your comments. Richard, without Paqueta, we will become a champion. We already are. We already are. I looked at the game against QPR, and although we won, there were times when I was thinking, we're not much better than them, are we? There were times when I was thinking we already are a championship side, even without Lucas Paqueta, even with Lucas Paqueta. David, this window is now going to be about him and not focusing on what we need. I hate this always complicated way. Very good point. Very, very good point. it starts to distract, doesn't it? And takes us away from what we really need to do. Steve, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Paul James. Minimum 35 mil and sell on and promise not to come back. Cause more goals to be scored than has assisted or scored for us lately. Moutster. It works out for every goal or assist involvement. It costs us £1.3 million for Paqueta. Mike's Travels, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. I like Paqueta, but he hasn't been at his best for the last 2 seasons. If he isn't up for the fight, goodbye and thank you, and let's get someone in who is possibly with a loan with an option. I like that idea as well. You know, maybe someone like Conor Gallagher. If Conor Gallagher doesn't relish coming because we might get relegated, offer him a loan with an option to buy. And if we get relegated, we don't, you know, he can go elsewhere. If we don't get relegated, and he's got an opportunity to stay with us if he wants to. Thank you. I am back and fit, a lot fitter, a lot better. I do urge you all, and I know men don't like talking about this sort of stuff, but I do urge you all to go and get it checked. Go and get a prostate checkup. Go and get a PSA test. Doesn't take long, doesn't hurt, and it could save your lives. So I urge you, you know, to go and get you checked up. Jamie, evening. I'm very well, mate. I'm very well indeed, and I hope you are too. West Ham 5CP, good evening to you. Payet, bring him back. He would do better than Pac. He is available. He's a free agent. How old is he now? 37? Something like that? He's available. He's a free agent. Phil, he's not been coasting. He's been coasting for a long time. He's a very good player, but he just seems to like, he just seems as if he can't be asked, which is such a shame because we know he can do it, don't we? Carpi, I think the board knew about this, hence buying 2 strikers with Tati to replace Paqueta. Pablo looks a bit of a dud, so still need a pacey striker. I don't mind Pablo because he's putting in effort. He's putting in effort, and he's only just come back from injury. So when people are saying, "Oh, why don't you play him more?" He had a bit of time out in his previous club because he had an injury. So he's getting match fit. You got to remember that. But he's putting in effort. I want to see that. I want to see. I don't know. I think he'll come. I think Tati will definitely come good. I think it might take time for Pablo to come good, but it could happen. Ian, good evening to you. Good evening to you, Tim. What is the poll question? Keep Paqueta or let him go? Yes for keep it. Yes for letting him go. No for keeping him. It's in the chat somewhere. There's a poll going on. Tim, I think that's the reason Pablo is here, to replace Paqueta. It could well be. I think we need another one though. I think we need a slightly more creative player. Flamengo. £30 million and a 50% sell on will mean nothing, because if they only sell him for say 35 million, we'll only get 50% of 5 million. So it'll be, for me, it's got to be a minimum of £40 million. Stick a sell on, but at least you've got the 40 million. So if they end up selling him for 40 million, we don't get anything. If they're selling, you know, do you see what I mean? So a 50% sell on, I'd rather have more money up front. Dom, I've said yes, but I'd rather he stood by his word and stay until the summer. And yeah, that's also a fair comment. Hornswaller, I agree. On average, we actually played better without Paqueta. Michael, if it's true he's down tools, then why would you want him here? Why would you indeed? But I think Nuno thinks the sun shines out of his backside and he'll want to keep him. John spends more time on his arse, get rid, but think we'll be lucky to get 30. If it's lowballing 30 million, then keep him, put him in the reserves, and say, well, sorry, you just train with the under-21s instead. No, sorry, James. Poll is yes, want him to go, and no, want him to stay. David, no room for sentiment in football. Paqueta has had our support through thick and thin, but we mean very little to him, it seems. I'm surprised by him, to be quite honest with you. I'm surprised that he's done it. Steve, I thought Bill Green was bad years ago, but Kilman is by far the worst centre-half we have had. He is not great. Bowling Lounge. Pack is so frustrating. He is a very good player, but he doesn't influence the game in a positive way as much as he should. And when he's not at his best, it's often a liability. Let's scroll down. Let's get some more comments in before I carry on with the rest of the show. Paqueta needs to go, loses the ball, goes over for a foul, and the opposition scores. It happens regularly. Thankful when he was decent, but the Liverpool game proved where this fella was. Yeah, the Liverpool game, another disappointment. You know, and then we did ask ourselves, why is he continuing to argue with the referee? Does he actually want to get sent off? And lo and behold, he got sent off. Ian, do you think having Paqueta around is good for the harmony in the dressing room when we need positive vibes only? I think now the harmony is going to be completely crushed, because now that this is coming, and I would dare say some of the players already knew that this was on its way. So, no, I don't think it would be good, to be quite honest with you. Bill, yeah, we haven't got the luxury to have a player like that. Barney, Paqueta is right up there as one of our most overrated players ever, in my opinion. We've had worse, but we know he's got a lot more in his locker. That's what's really, really annoying with Lucas Paqueta. We know he's got a lot more. If we got 40 million and spent it right before window closes, we could save our season. This could be our catalyst. Look back in 20 years and say, remember we sold Paqueta and brought inside. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking exactly the same, Brian. Go and get ourselves a couple of really, really good players. And if they don't want to come on a permanent, bring them in on loan. And, the option of, so if we stay in Premier League, we want to buy you. If we don't, you can go. Paul. Or get them permanently and put a clause in their contracts to say, if we go down, you can still leave, even if we bought you on a permanent basis. Paul, did you watch the Wimbledon? I didn't. I was planning the show. We were poor in the first half, but played well and got back to a 3-2 with minutes left. It was 4-2 in the end, unfortunately, but well done to them. Yeah, we went 3-0 down, didn't we? Arthur, good evening to you. Josh Sargent, the same, does not want to play for Norwich City right now. Josh Sargent is interesting. Gallagher going to Spurs. He's a Chelsea boy through and through until he's not. Josh Sargent, I don't know. I think we've got enough strikers now. Let's look for an attacking midfielder, and let's look for it. We desperately need a centre back, don't we? Especially with Dinos's injury as well. Mountstar, it was always difficult when players we like move on. I felt more gutted when they told us that Ashton had to retire than when I heard about Paqueta wanting out. Epic, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Anthony, good evening, Mr. Gilby. How are you? Get rid now, take the money, spend it on defenders and a midfielder. Paqueta goes down more times than a I don't know how many times a Basildon Hoover goes down, mate, but I'm sure you know. Jonathan, team will improve, so just get him on the plane and we can move on. If he was refusing to play, stop his wages. Well, you see, he has said, or apparently he has said, according to the various sources, is I'm not available for the QPR game, which must probably mean that he's not available for the upcoming Spurs game either. So I think this deal's got to be done this week. It's got to be sorted out this week, hasn't it? Regarding Paqueta, Brazil season doesn't start until the end of this month, and their window closes in March, according to Sky. So maybe he won't go until then. No good for us. We can't get rid of him in March and then have a wad of money sitting there not being able to use it during this window. So I think it's got to be done sooner rather than later, to be quite honest with you. Obsidian, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. West Ham going for a Burton. I know. Michael, elephant in the room is who wants to sign for us thinking we're about to get relegated. Interestingly, I think players will sign. And like I've said a moment ago, you could put a clause in. You could say, we want to sign you on a permanent. If we get relegated, you will be allowed to leave. And maybe, at a reduced price in order to, enable you to leave. Or you can say, look, we'll get you on a loan with an option to buy. If we stay up, we want to buy you on a permanent basis. If we go down, then you can go. PA and Jack, Hayden Hackney and Jacob Greaves. Jacob Greaves, not so sure. Hayden Hackney, interesting. We were linked to him over the summer, but nothing materialised with Hayden Hackney. And that was quite a big, we're definitely getting him sort of story. Chris, good evening, Bridlington call. I've missed that. Went to Burton to see Scarborough last year. Most fans met up at the Beach Hotel en route to the ground. Good sized car park, short walk from the ground. I don't think I'll be driving up there, mate. But good to hear it's got a good-sized car park. I hope you're well, Chris. Michael, Chelsea rumoured to be considering Paqueta. No, well, this is it. They came in late, didn't they? But who knows, actually? Who knows? Would he go? And then all this gumph about, I want to go back to my my boyhood club. I want to go back to Brazil, etc. Be thrown right out the window if he ended up going to either Spurs, Villa, or Chelsea. I think it's either Flamengo or nothing. By the looks of it, but who knows? Who knows? It might be different. Who knows? Because money talks at the end of the day, doesn't it? Andreas, good evening to you. Diganis of Bolagala. Remember, we have to pay 11 million to Leon to square money owed. Good point, because they've got a sell-on clause, and 10% has to go to AC Milan, 15% to Leon, so we need 40 to 50 million. But they will pay that. We'll only pay the money to Leon. What has to happen thereafter is down between Leon and AC Milan, etc., etc. So we're not responsible for all of that, but we are responsible for the sell-on clause that Leon put in when they sold him to us. David, I believe Paqueta Tottenham, if Uncle Bruno puts a fiver on it happening. Uncle Bruno. Paqueta wanted out at the start of the season and hasn't given us much. Joan, Nuno hinted there's stuff going on that we don't know about. I'd love to know what he means. Well, there's one thing that we now know about. Clearly, Paqueta wants to leave. Andreas, Paqueta is just a poor man's Ronaldinho. He has cost us goals and constantly gives the ball away. Michael, thoughts his form would have improved when the betting investigation went away? I think we all did, didn't we? I think we were all looking forward to that one final season with Paqueta being here. Brian, and even he alluded to that, one more push or something. Do you remember he put some comment on a social media and he, like, as if to say one more push or one more whatever, let's go and all that. We thought he was up for it too. Brian, cash in as he's a traitor and overrated, sell and invest. Gallagher, 34 million, don't rate him, Arthur. I like him. I think he's decent. More decent than some of the players we've got at the moment. Bowling Lounge. Irony is, Trudge, a lot of the vocal, he ain't left winger fans are now wanting him to play there. Is that about Paqueta? PA to Obsidian. Moyes played him wide left, had Emerson behind. Emerson wanted to leave. We got a real winger in Somerville. Emerson didn't want to leave. Potter wanted him to leave. Now Paqueta is in the middle. He's a liability, losing the ball and diving. Yeah, and he had a good relationship with Emerson, and maybe that affected him as well, didn't it? Maybe. Graham, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you very much, mate. And I hope all is well with you, my friend. Who else have we got here? Daniela, Stel, maybe you could do a special show on Billy Bonds with Nigel in the next international. That is a really, really, really good idea. I'll speak to Nigel about that. Thank you. Ralph. Hello, mate. I hope you're well. Thousands of fans walking away from this dire football. I don't blame Paqueta. He's been here 5 seasons. He's been part of the dire football, mate. Lee, good evening, mate. He wasted his career with us, being promised quality players around him, and Sullivan lied to him. He should have left years ago. Bowen's too good for us as well. Bowen will miss out on the World Cup. Bowen will miss out on the World Cup. But even if he was playing out of his skin, he'd still miss out on the World Cup because he doesn't play for a big team, or a so-called big team. Don't want to upset anyone. Mr. Dunkey, never wanted to see Paqueta in a West Ham shirt after his sending off. Really disrespectful in regards to Billy Bonds passing. Debbie and Mark. Hello, Mark. I hope you're well. Thing is, if we go down, which hopefully by some miracle we don't, but if we do, what manager will come to us? I can't see someone like Maresca taking the job. Well, interestingly, I did a show about a week or so ago suggesting that maybe, and I know you probably all laugh, suggesting that maybe Nuno will stay. Let's not forget, he brought Wolves up on a high number of points, 99 points, one of the highest tallies of points that a championship club acquired in winning promotion back to the Premier League. So it's not beyond the realms of impossibility that Nuno might stay and bring us back up again. I don't know. Andrew, I'm a Paqueta fan, but I only want players who are committed. I feel Paqueta checked out long ago. A lot of people are feeling the same thing. West Ham 5 need a player that will bring the players around him to up the others' quality from others around him. Do you think he does that or not? Richard, Stel, the timing of the Paqueta to Flamengo transfer is because the start of next Brazilian season coincides with the end of the Premier League January window. Mike, Romano saying tonight that Spuds have agreed a £40 million deal for Conor Gallagher. There you go. So that's that then. We're not getting Conor Gallagher. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to avoid showing you an image of Conor Gallagher when I do talk about transfers. That's ruined that part of the show. Bowling Lounge. I'm with you, Ronnie. Not convinced by Pablo yet, but let's give the lad a chance. Neil, Bilic said the problem with Payet was he was simply too good for the club. I hate that. I hate what? Is Paqueta too good for the club as well? I'm not having a go at you, Neil. I'm having a go at what was said. Promised we would gain places and we'd be bringing in top quality players. Who says history doesn't repeat itself? I get that. I understand that. I understand that people are upset because we haven't brought, but we have brought quality players in, just not in the right positions and not at the same time. That's been our problem. Peter, good evening, Mr. McLaren. I hope you're well. PA and Jack, no goals, no assists, diving, give the ball away, liability, bad attitude, one good game in 10, shite for many reasons. How can anyone like this guy? Oh, wait, he's Brazilian. And I remember cheekily doing a show last season where I actually compared Souček to Paqueta and what they actually offered West Ham in terms of goals, assists, tackles, and all that sort of stuff. And guess what, people? Thomas Souček came out top in almost every aspect of the analysis that I did. He absolutely did. But because Thomas Souček ain't Brazilian, everyone hates him. You're absolutely right with that comment. You're absolutely right. Anthony, still, question. Would you want a good cup run or Premiership survival? I'm being greedy. I'd want us to win the FA Cup and survive in the Premier League. Hey, why not? Pitch on or other. Pitch on. Good evening to you. Don't know what football you lot are watching. Paqueta is the complete all-round midfielder and you want him gone. Makes no sense. I don't know if you're a West Ham fan, pitch on other or not, but if you watch him week in, week out, like most of us do, you'll understand why people are not, sort of with him. Ralph, Pack would be fine in an attack-minded team. It's not rocket science, but his forgot about his effing around annoys me. Iron discipline. Good evening to you, Burton. Here we come. Here we come. Indeed, Burton. Wouldn't that be great? Brian, not worth his 188 grand a week. Crazy, crazy money. Adam, hello, mate. Good chat to you earlier on. Could this be like Harry selling Bilic and getting in Hartson and Kitson to save our season? Yeah, talked about that a few weeks ago, didn't I? About bringing in two strikers in order to get us win our way out of trouble. Started. Great goal by Tati at the weekend. Retro James, good evening to you. What we need to remember is if he got banned, we wouldn't have him anyway. Take the money, rebuild as long as it's spent wisely. And I'm not sure that part will happen. That's a good point. Ronnie, when was the last time Paqueta was man of the match? All-round midfielder, questioning that. That's a fair point. It's a fair point. Ibrahim, good evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Vonnie. Was hoping with having a Portuguese-speaking manager that Paqueta would be encouraged to stay until the end of the season, but his mind seems to have already been made up. It seems so indeed. Martin, still, you make signing players in January easy. Let's hope it really isn't, and we know it isn't. We've got a number of players that we're linked to, but we know it's difficult, especially in the predicament that we're in. It's even more difficult. Has Wilson moved on yet? No, not yet. Another Numpty Nuno moment in the striker department. I don't understand that. I've got to be really honest with you. With the interest in Callum Wilson, I would have kept him, to be honest. Barney. Class, Billy Bob sums up the way people talk to each other on social media. Just a difference of opinion. Too old for this stuff. My comments were and remain. We should all respect everyone's. I don't know what Billy Bob said, but we should all respect each other's because we all have different views. And that's the beauty of this channel, by the way, as I keep saying, as I've said before. It's not just having an echo chamber. It's about having a difference of opinion. And we should respect it. Ralph, I don't believe half the crap that comes from our club. Why is it everyone who leaves is the bad guy? I smell a bit of crap. Well, let's see how this pans out, shall we? Bill, Paqueta always has and always will have a stroppy, shitty attitude. If we sold him to Man City 3 years ago, he wouldn't be there now. I actually do agree with that. I think if he did get his dream move, I don't think he'll still be there. I agree with that. Bolin, agree, Ralph. They do like to demonize everyone before they leave. Don't know if it's true, read Paqueta, but it follows the usual playbook. We don't know. DC, what a crap day. Paqueta is a dick. Under 21's mugged off. And news of Eric Dyer. Oh dear, I better not speak too highly of Eric Dyer later on then. Otherwise, I'm the one that's going to get. Nuno did well in the championship, but he should be sacked. He should be sacked after Wolves. It was awful. Going all the way up there and watching that game and coming away feeling so empty. And it was cold and it was wet and it was horrid. But anyway. DC, I really wish people would stop saying Castellanos is a replacement for Paqueta. Well, he's a different player. He's a striker, isn't he? Ted, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. David, when the government want to bury bad news, they deflect by creating a scandal. Sully is a master at this. He will always put someone under the bus to cover his shortfalls. Well, That's a fair point. Yeah, maybe the whole Paqueta thing's made up. I don't know. I'll try and find out. Good evening. Under 21s put up a good fight, Mark. They did indeed. Unlucky to them. You've become a member for 5 months. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I love this. Darren, Stelios, would you move Paqueta on and replace him before Spurs game? And who would you sign? Who I would sign? Well, I did say Connor Gallagher, but he's now seems to be going to Spurs. I don't know at this moment in time who is available. I'm going to have to think about that one, Darren. But moving on before the end of the week, I think maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing. Just for team morale, not have him around to sort of bring the squad down. Debenham Dave, how are you, mate? A difference of opinions. I'm still a Nuno fan. Cheers, Stel. Cheers to you, mate, as well. Gaza, mate, you really don't have to, but thank you so much. Really, really appreciated. Ibrahim, Paqueta is one of those players that does exceptionally well when the rest of the team is functioning properly, which hasn't been the case at West Ham for a while. That's a fair point as well. Right. Do you want Paqueta to go? 64% have said yes, and 36% have said no, they want to keep him. So as that was going on, it was getting closer and closer. Interesting. Neymar, yeah, right. I've heard that story before somewhere, haven't I? Right, okay. We're done with Paqueta. I mean, you can carry on making comments about him, but let's carry on with the rest of the show. Let's do a bit of a roundup, shall we? And again, for those of you who are new to the channel, scrolling along the bottom, it says click the QR code if you want to become a subscriber to the channel. Free to subscribe, it costs nothing to subscribe. If you enjoy the content, please hit the like button that's below, and also hit the hype button because that helps me to allows you to help me to promote the video that's happening. And also, if you're feeling generous and you want to become a member of the channel, $1.99 a month will give you additional content, and all the money raised on the membership scheme goes to Cancer Research UK, and I double that. So far we've raised 540 quid. Oh, Prostate Cancer UK, sorry, got the name wrong. Goes to Prostate Cancer UK, and that means it's quite close to my heart. Not my prostate, it's gone, but it's quite close to my heart, that particular charity, which is why I've nominated that charity to get money. Right, let's talk about other things now. Now, I know you don't like it, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's still part of West Ham. The women's team, after a break, were back in action. But even with a new manager at the helm, they picked. They started where they left off. Now, the last game they played before the Christmas break, they lost 5-1. I think it was to Man City. And at the weekend, they suffered another 5 defeat. This time 5-0 away to Chelsea. So yeah, not a great start for the new manager. The new manager is Rita Guarino. She took over just before Christmas when Rehan Skinner was sacked. Guarino is an ex-player who played for the likes of Juventus and Lazio. She also represented Italy as a striker. She went into management in 2008 as an assistant coach for the the Italian under-17s team. And then since then, she went on to manage Juve, winning the league title with them, etc. And then she moved to Inter Milan, and then they parted ways by mutual consent in 2024. And now she's become West Ham manager, women's manager. Let's hope she does well. Not a great start, but let's hope she does well. Now, the under-18s also returned to action at the weekend after their winter break, and where they played Norwich City, and they beat them 4-3 in the under-18s Premier League. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, so I'm going to say Jeff. It ain't Jeff, but that's how you're going to know him by from now on. Jeff Medine grabbed a second half hat-trick. The under-18s are steadily climbing back up the league and currently sit in 7th place. So welcome back to them. Now, as you've already heard at the beginning of the show, I said that the under-21s were in action tonight. And unfortunately, they are out of the Virtue Cup, losing 4-2 in the end to Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon. So unlucky to them. Now, interestingly, they're back in action tomorrow night as well. I don't know how these fixtures work, but they actually are in action tomorrow night, where they host Borussia Dortmund in the Premier League International Cup as well. So good luck to them for that. and then they return to Premier League 2 action next Monday when they're at home to Chelsea. What about some loan news? Well, we've got a number of players out on loan. Now, I'm sure you've already heard that George Earthy has returned to Bristol City, and Callum Marshall has gone on loan to Bundesliga 2 club VfL Bochum, and I'll update you on their progress in a moment. There have been no fewer than 7 players out on loan in action over the weekend, and by far the one who's really quite prolific at the moment is Gideon Kodua. He's continuing his excellent run for Luton, where he notched up his 4th goal in 3 games as Luton came from behind to beat Stevenage 2-1 and move them up the table. Kodua's strike took him 9 goals in all competitions, making him Luton's leading goal scorer for this season. And there's a lot of talk that Luton manager Jack Wilshere is looking to try and sign Kodua on a permanent deal. So well done to him. I'm really pleased that he's doing well there. I like Kodua. When he led the under-18s to the FA Cup youth final, I thought he was the best player on the pitch that night. George Earthy, he made his 2nd debut for Bristol City following his loan move on Friday, and he played the final half hour in their dominant 5-1 victory over Championship side Watford in the FA Cup. But there was disappointment for another player, Caelan Casey. In the FA Cup, Swansea were knocked out on penalties by West Brom. Now, West Ham are considering calling Casey back from his loan spell. They've done it with quite a few players so far this season. He hasn't gotten as much game time in the Championship with Swansea as West Ham thought he might do. And given that we're in need of central defenders right now, Casey could be drafted back into the senior side. Now, I know Golan Beckett is currently training with the senior side, but Casey is better than, or he's more, it's horrible to say better, but he's an under 21, he's a really decent player. When he's played for Swansea, he's actually done quite well, and that's why there's a disappointment that he's not played more time for them. So he could come back into the senior squad as a backup. Now, another player, as I said, having just returned from his loan spell at Livingston, where that was cut short, Junior Robinson made a debut at Boreham Wood, who exited the FA Cup after being beaten 5-0 by the side we're facing next, Burton Albion. Back in the National League, Mason Terry continued his return from a wrist injury by keeping his 3rd clean sheet in 5 matches as Braintree Town were held 0-0 by Boston United. It was Terry's 9th shutout of the season in all competitions. Callum Marshall, as I've said, has gone out on loan to VfL Bochum, and he made his debut at the weekend as a second-half sub in a 2-1 friendly win against Bundesliga 3 side Alemannia Aachen, I think. And finally, in Serie A, I'm sure you're all dying to know how our big F German is getting on. Nicklas Füllkrug made his full debut in AC Milan's 1-1 draw away to Fiorentina. And apparently in the post-match press conference, he was furious. Where have we heard that before? He was furious that they only drew 1-1. Right, I'm going to take a short break, a very short break, because the next thing I'm going to talk about is a very, very short update on the game yesterday, and just a really sort of a run through of the game. And then we're going to finish off with transfer news. So do stick around for that. Actually, I'm not going to take a break because I forgot to load transfer video intro. So you're going to have to not take a break still. You're going to have to drink while you're talking. Now, the FA Cup game was pretty vital to us, not only in trying to get, would be nice distraction to get a cup run going, but also to take us away from the dread that we're going through with the Premier League at the moment. And the win, I'm really, really hoping, has given us a much, much needed boost. We really need to sort of like, we need to feel that winning way again, don't we? We need to be able to sort of come away with a bit of a smile on our faces. And I think there were a number of positives to take away from that game. I'm not going to talk about it. If you want to watch my analysis, you can watch the post-match review I did straight after the game. But some wins for us, some positives. It was great to see Aaron Wan-Bissaka back, although I've got to be honest, I question his positioning for their goal, but it was great to see Aaron Wan-Bissaka back. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka just offers us something a little bit different. I like Carl Walker-Peters, but Wan-Bissaka offers something quite different when he plays down that right flank. It was also really good to see the debut of Ezra Myers. Now, we've seen him in bits so far this season, but I thought he looked very, very assured on that left side of defence at the weekend. I was really impressed with him. I thought he didn't put a foot wrong. You know what? He's going to give Ollie Scholes a bit of a run for his money for that spot on the left side of defence. I was also impressed with the work rate. We spoke a little bit about Pablo a moment ago. I'm not entirely convinced he's quite Premier League ready just yet, but I was impressed with his work rate. I think that was good to see. And I was also really impressed with the fact that Tati Castellanos and the way he got his goal, the way that he was up for a fight. He was dropping deep, trying to get involved. I think he got a yellow card for one of the challenges that he made, but he was really, really up for the fight. It was impressive. And the way he took the goal, it was like intent. He's a bit of a fox in the box. You know, if he gets half a sniff at a goal in the box, then he's your player. So if we give him the ball in the right way, you know, I think he'll probably score a hatful of goals for us. Let's see. Will it be enough to keep us in the Premier League next season? I don't know. But we need fighters, don't we? We need players who are willing to really, really get stuck in. Disappointing that we didn't keep a clean sheet, but our shape and our nerve didn't go when they scored. You know, our heads were held up, we carried on, and that bodes well. And that's another positive that we got through that, and we got through it to win. All right, it took extra time, but nonetheless. And the other positive, I think, for me, is that Crescencio Somerville has finally found some form. He was superb. And I know what people are going to say. Well, it was only against championship level, against a championship team, etc. That's why he was good. You've still got to do it. You've still got to do it. And some of his touches, some of his movement, he looked really, really up for the fight. It looked as if he had the shackles taken off, and he did exceptionally well. I enjoyed actually watching him play. He took his goal well. You know, the number of times we say you're in position to score, shoots, just shoot. Try, and he hasn't done so. Always looking for that final pass, and then it's too late. Whereas even with his wrong foot, with his left foot, he just took it. You know, he took it well, and he scored really well. And then he set up the winning goal as well, where he went past that player, ghosted past that defender, and then crossed the ball in again with his left foot, and straight on the head of Tati. Really, really impressive. Really impressive. So there's a number of positives to take. What we've now got to do is take that mindset, take those positives, and put them in the game against Spurs this coming weekend. They're not doing that well in the league. Then why not go and sort of pay them back for the defeat that we suffered against them at home at the beginning of the season? All right, let's finish off with some. Obviously, I'll be doing your chat as well, but let's finish off with the latest transfer news, shall we? Now, there is interest in Eric Dyer. Now, I know people are going to go, oh, no, why? Listen, I've got a feeling that this might be quite a savvy move if it happens. Now, the first question you're going to ask is, how many defensive midfielders do we need? And that would be fair. You know, how many defensive midfielders does one club need? But Nuno worked with Dyer briefly when they were both at Spurs. And there's a suggestion that the 31-year-old, who joined Monaco on a free transfer from Bayern Munich in the summer, could be available. It could be, but at what cost? Dyer signed a 3-year deal when he moved to Monaco with a French club, and still he's got 2.5 years remaining. Did he not replace Magassa? I think he might have done, didn't he? No, yeah, I think he replaced Magassa. Look, he might be available for about £5 or £6 million. And would I pay that? He would bring a lot of experience, and he will be a bit of a leader. He might bring a bit of stability to the team. He's a bit of a battler. I don't know about battling for a relegation fight, but maybe, you know, he's the kind of player that might just be what we need right now. You know, a couple of bruisers, a couple of battlers, and maybe someone like him might not necessarily a bad thing. And that goes also with the next player that we've been linked to, Ethan Pinnock from Brentford. Now, when West Ham fans get angry and upset, that we're apparently targeting a player in the transfer market that doesn't come across as a big name glamour signing, we all get upset. We all get, oh no, look, cheapskates, we're going to sign a crap player for crap money. And my mind, every time we say that, my mind always goes back to when David Moyes signed Craig Dawson. And look what we ended up doing with Craig Dawson. We ended up lauding the player. We even created a song for him. It was a shit song, but we created a song for him. Now, not only was Dawson unfancied, the amount of abuse that the player got before he even kicked the ball for West Ham, and as well as the amount of abuse that David Moyes got for targeting such a player in the first place, the audacity, shall we say, was a little bit over the top. Now, I expect the same kind of anger and the same kind of abuse to be targeted at Nuno, should there be any truth in the story that we're aiming to sign Ethan Pinnock, the 32-year-old from Brentford. And I deliberately connected that the potential signing to Craig Dawson because Pinnock is, despite his age, the kind of experienced Premier League hard-nosed centre-back that I think we desperately need right now, because Craig Dawson revolutionised our defence when he came. He gave us that grit, didn't he? He gave us that edge. He gave us that grit, and we don't have that at the moment. We've got, Dinos, who just is all right. We've got Kilman, who's an absolute walking disaster. And we've got Todibo, who's improved, but he's a slick player, isn't he? He's not gritty. And we need someone with grit in them. And I just wonder if Pinnock is that kind of defender that we need right now. Because Todibo does really well. But then when he's playing alongside Kilman or Dinos, it's almost like having one central defender trying to do everything. And Todibo's not that kind of player to do everything. And I think, we could do with a bit of a hard nut, and Pinnock might just fit in that category. Look, of course, we all want Charlie Cresswell, but it seems to be a transfer that's too difficult to conclude with. Maybe Cresswell doesn't fancy coming to a team that might be relegated, and maybe he's got other options, and there's apparent interest now from various other Premier League teams who are looking at Cresswell. So that means we need an alternative. And why not Pinnock? When I think about what Craig Dawson has done, could he not be our Craig Dawson of this era? Who knows? We lack a player in defence that can do the basics well. Getting his head on the ball, dealing with crosses from set pieces, putting his body on the line to block shots and not to turn their back on attacking players. And Pinnock has all that, and we can get it. If we can get a deal for him, why not? Even if it's a short deal, he's still got a year and a half left on his contract at Brentford. So I guess we're going to have to better that in order to tempt him to come. And a reasonable fee of something like £5, 6, £7 million to get him might be money well spent. We only spent something like £2.5 million when we got Craig Dawson in. His salary won't be that demanding either. Highly unlikely to be asking for big money. So we'll probably be able to afford that as well. Look, I was going to talk about Conor Gallagher, but I'm not going to bother now, so we'll skip him. Let's talk about other players that could be leaving. Apart from Lucas Paqueta, we keep hearing it's an eternal departure of Guido Rodriguez, but he's still here and he's still playing. Now, we've been hearing about his departure since the summer. We apparently have attracted interest from clubs in Spain as well as Central and Southern America, and Grêmio now of Brazil are the latest club to apparently be interested in him. But who knows? I don't know with the money that he's earning. I don't know any club that's going to be able to match that. I won't surprise me if he's still here when the transfer window shuts. But one player who looks like he won't be here when the transfer window shuts is Callum Wilson. And with JWP, I think Ward-Prowse is still going to be here because just like Rodriguez, no one will be able to afford his salary. But Callum Wilson seems like he could be gone fairly soon. And the story is, of course, that we're waiting for the new strikers to bed in, and then we'll let Wilson go probably at the tail end of the transfer window. And there are so many teams that are interested in him. It won't surprise me one bit if we see Wilson going, and it won't surprise me one bit if we actually see him going to a Premier League side. It won't surprise me at all. So that's the roundup. There are plenty of other transfer stories that I've completely avoided because there's so many of them that are pretty much rubbish. But these are the ones at the latest ones. But I'm sure I'll be doing another show tomorrow to catch up on all the various other transfer stories that are lurking about. So let's go into your chat. Stefan, good evening to you. This man looks like David Baddiel, much more handsome. Thank you, Stefan. How are you, mate? AS, how are you? Pac-Man is the top player when he wants to be, but let him go to Flamengo. We move on and buy a Championship Premier League player to cover both bases. I don't want Dyer. I do and I don't. I'll welcome him if he can add some kind of stability to that midfield. I'd welcome that. Iron, please let all the Premier League teams minus West Ham lose the next round. Yeah, but then we'll get knocked out by a League One or Championship team, mate, and that will be even worse. DC, I'm actually looking forward to Championship football and a massive clear out of twats. You know, and we talked about this at the weekend, and a lot of fans are looking forward to Championship football. We're going to embrace it. Why not? New places to visit, new away games, etc. So more games for bang for your money, etc. Andrew, even if we manage to stay out, I think Bowen will be the next player to want away from the club. Ironically, I'm not so sure. We had a chat about this at the weekend, and Paul Peters said to me, I wonder if Paqueta, sorry, not Paqueta, I wonder if Bowen, if we do go down, he'll give us a season. And I'm thinking he might well do. He might well give us a season in the Championship to get us back up. Pitch owner, pitch on other. I read the poll like, yes, keep, sell, no, reckon you, Sullivan, the Paqueta support. Didn't mean to confuse people over that. Trodge, most wouldn't get a game in the Premier League, but Marshall and co stand a chance in the Championship. Yes, they do. So it's not a bad thing to send them out now on loan. If we do go down, then you know, maybe they're the sort of players we need in the chat if we go down in the Championship. Ibrahim, too much at stake to play many academy players. Maybe in the Championship with a couple of seasoned pros around them. Who knows? The Bowling Lounge. He do a job for us, but I don't think he'll be leaving Brighton. To be honest, who will be leaving Brighton? I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, don't know if I can agree with you. True Culture, how are you? Do you think that West Ham fans asking for too much, which should take some of the blame on the club struggling at the moment in the Premier League? That's a really interesting question. You know, with all the protests going on, etc. Did we become too expectant after winning the European trophy, etc.? I don't know. The True Culture. That's a really tough one to answer, because for every one person that says I guess what everyone will say is the reason why we expect more is because we were promised more, which is why we moved from the old ground. You know, we weren't meant to be in this position that we're in now. We were meant to be challenging. I never expected us to challenge for Champions League football, but I think, you know, we were meant to be, not meant to be a club that keeps looking downward rather than upwards. You know, apparently we should have been looking upwards. That was the dream that was sold to us. So in that respect, I think we expect more, and I think we were right to. Do I expect more to be in Europe every season? No. And I think anyone that does believe that, I think, unfortunately, got really taken for a ride with regards to the hollow promises that we made by moving the stadium. It was obvious why we moved the stadium, because it was cheaper to do so. But to promise Champions League football was rather daft of the board, you know. Bill, could have done with Marshall and Earthy tonight. Shocking to let them go. Look, they're close to Premier League. They're close to first team football. And I understand that they're not going to get, you know, they were in the squad. They weren't getting game time. And in order for them to continue their development, I understand why they were sent out on loan. If you keep having them in the under 21s, they're not necessarily going to get that sort of you know, they're not going to get that kind of experience in the under 21s. The under 21s could do well, but it's only when you start loaning these players out to League One teams, Championship teams, etc., to see how they're doing, to see what level they're really at. So I don't mind that. DC, by the way, thank you, Frog. Much appreciated for becoming a new member. DC, how would our best youth and youngest first teamers do without senior players in the championship, would we survive? No, I've just said we need a mix. You can't just have academy players in there because I think they'll be done. But you bring a number of them in and have seasoned pros around them, and they could excel. George Kodua was under 21 captain. So likewise, I think he's a good lad. He's a nice lad. He's not a big bragger. And like I said, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was the standout player in that FA Youth Cup final a couple of years back. I thought he was a true leader, fantastic young player, and I hope he makes it as well. DJ Bomb. I've been following Luton just to watch Kodua. He's flying. He's doing exceptionally well. Good luck to him. Ibrahim. I think they'd survive in League One, but the Championship is a much bigger step. With the right players around them, the likes of Earthy, the likes of Parts, the likes of Marshall, etc., I think they could do well. Andrew, if we stay up and got a 45 million offer for 29-year-old Bowen, would we take it? Interesting question. Possibly yes, if we can invest that money. Anyone who saw us beat Gooners in the FA Cup will know how great Gideon is. If he was Brazilian, we'd spend 20 million on him. Andrew, I completely agree. I was there that night when we beat him, and he was a great captain. That was a great day. I mean, beating them on their own ground was even greater. But I totally agree with you. He was great. Fantastic young player. Iron. No, who ain't in the FA Cup? Spurs. Yeah. Well, we got Burton Albion next, mate, so we might not be in it after the next round. I don't know what True Culture said, but let's carry on. Question, Bowling. Who signs Bowen if we were to go? There'll be plenty of teams in for him. Newcastle, there you go. Villa, Newcastle, there'll be plenty of teams in for him. Vonnie. Followed Kodua for a while and great to see him on fire. Was disappointed Luton had an option to buy. Can this be changed? Well, it's only an option, so we don't have to agree to it. It's only when it's an obligation to buy that he's definitely going. I think he's at the end of his contract anyway this season as well, at the end of this season. Leon, good evening. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated, and welcome back to you. P&A and Jack, we should cash in on Bowen soon, a winger, and he has never been the quickest. Age will slow him up even more. Yeah, it's an interesting one. You know, I wouldn't say no to getting a decent price for Bowen at the end of the season. True Culture. How would you explain having a manager who gets the club a European trophy, and once you all start complaining about him, helping the people in charge, getting him out then? Okay, we're back to the Moyes thing. Adam, understand Casey is very quiet. We appear to have a number of quiet defenders. One of Charlie Creswell's qualities, I read that he's loud and commanding. I would love Charlie Creswell. It seems, however, that Charlie Creswell doesn't love West Ham enough to want to sign. Who else have we got here? Bolin. Not sure anyone's saying Bowen out. Just speculation that he might leave if relegated. Personally, I think the list of clubs he goes to is pretty short. Like I said, it's quite possible. Hello. She's woken up. It's quite possible that Bowen might give us a year in the Championship to see if he can get us back up. Mark, there were bored out chants and red cards on 15 minutes at the Cherry Tree Records Stadium. Oh, really? Okay. Gaza, we've got so much youth. I don't think it's a bad idea to get some experience in the squad. Isn't that weird what you just said there? Because a year ago, we would have been moaning the fact that we were the oldest squad in the Premier League, and now we're worried that it's too young. That's ironic. Say hello, Sushi. Come on. There you go. She's just woken up. This is Sushi. You all right, sweetheart? Go on. Go back down there. Okay, where was I? Devon and Dave. On what a win at the Spuds would do for the players' confidence. Whoever's going there, I'll see you there. And let's hope we do get a win. I don't care how we win it. You know, I don't care. If we win, it would be fantastic. Andrew, saw a clip of Redknapp saying we don't have any saw a clip of Redknapp saying we don't have a good academy anymore, no advancing players. Am I alone in hating Harry and his mumblings? Bonzo didn't rate him as a man. Look, listen, people. The stat came out some years ago, and I remember mentioning it several times. The stat came out some years ago that something like 4%, it's as low as that, something like 4 or 5% of Premier League academy players make it in the Premier League. That's how much of a success rate academies are in terms of churning out Premier League players. Why do you think everyone goes and buys, all these youth from abroad, etc.? It's that low. The percentage is that low. Now, if West Ham United or any club, can get an academy player coming through the ranks once every couple of years, I think we're doing well. Declan did, and now it's Potts, and now we've got a couple of other players on the periphery, so Redknapp is talking bollocks, really, because the game's changed so much. In his day, you weren't buying players from abroad. You were only, the youth. Of course, you would have a bigger churn of academy players going from academy to senior team. But you also had a very different structure then. You didn't have the under-21s league and the under-18s league, etc. You had the reserves. And the reserves used to be players coming back from injury, senior players coming back from injury, playing alongside the youngsters. You were getting your experience from that, which was even more a better way of getting players acclimatized to getting into the first team. And now it's changed. It's changed completely. So Harry's not talking, which is why when people were saying, "I'll get Harry in as manager," it's like, really? Is that what you honestly really want? Get Harry in as manager? Come on. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got? Jamie. We play better without Paqueta. Sell and use the money now to build for next season in the Championship. That's if we go down. DJ Bomb. Sushi. She's back again. Too many times I've seen players allow... come here. You're going to knock the mic over, and that will upset me. So you have got to go down there. Too many times I've seen players allow opposition to get goal side. Dyer's pace is worrying, but his positional sense will be superior. I prefer someone more mobile, personally. Yeah, that's a fair point. Hammers Green Street. Hey, how are you? Hello, still fellow Hammers. Alvaro Arbeloa, the new Real Madrid player for Hammers 2016. His last club as he retired June 17. I don't know what you mean. Is he become Alvaro Arbeloa, the new Real Madrid? The new Real Madrid what? Oh, manager? Is that what you mean? Brian, teams want Guido until they read his fitness report. Speed, nothing. Agility, nothing. Endurance, nothing. Bonnie, why didn't Nuno bring all his backroom staff with him, or wasn't he allowed to? I know that's they were all in jobs, so he managed to bring the goalkeeping coach with him because he was available. And all the others were all in jobs. One of them has returned to Wolves, and they've recently improved, although they did play us. There you go. Well, at the time, my understanding is they're all in jobs. I know we like to throw a conspiracy theory. She's behind me now. We like to throw conspiracy theories out there, but my understanding was that they were all in jobs. Billy Bob, I just want to see a team, not 5 defenders and 2 holding midfielders, a team attacking. Andrew, I'll hold my hands up. I was against us signing McTominay when linked, but he has proved me completely wrong. Wouldn't he have been a great signing? Gaza, heard people slagging off Potsy earlier today, saying he's not good enough. We are the most reactive and fickle fan base I've ever experienced in all sport that I follow. I haven't heard that, but it's why would he's been very decent for us. You want to get in on the act, don't you? I actually think Moyes achieved more than he was supposed to. Doesn't change that it was time for him to move on. P&A Jack. McTominay was Man United's best player the season before he left. How we missed that one is madness. That's because we didn't want him. Or the fan base didn't want him. All tackled up. Good evening to you. Was so shocked we didn't draw Liverpool or Arsenal. That's all right. It's coming next when we beat Burton Albion. No, if we beat Burton Albion. But to be fair, anyone will give us a hard game at the moment. Very true. That's very true. Anthony, what's up with people talking about Bowen going? Does anyone know whose father is? Believe me, his father-in-law is. Believe me, Bowen isn't going anywhere. Get real, people. Bowen isn't going. I do wonder if he will stay. Can my cat head balls? Bolin, agree with you, Stel. I don't think it's beyond possibilities that we will stay if we go down. I can see his loyalty maybe giving us a year. Trodge. Redknapp is senile. He said that only Scarles was playing and didn't even mention Potts. There you go. And you all wanted him, or some of you wanted him, to come back and manage West Ham United. Terry. Paqueta has really disappointed me. Was happy for him to leave in the summer. Now it proper annoyed me. He's doing this after everything he's done. I'll be glad to see him gone. I can see why he I can see why he wants out. Well, I can see why a lot of fans want him out as well. You know, his attitude, if this is really true, if everything that's been said over the last few days is true, it stinks, really. Vino, Nuno and Potter are supposed to be modern managers, more tactically astute, great tactics, but you lose the game. The operation was successful, but patience is dead. Trudge, the bowling. I think he just wants to get away from Sandbanks after they opened up that new immigration hotel. Let's keep politics out of this, people. Stray Cat, yeah, she wants attention. She's female. She wants attention. Let's scroll down. Can't believe I said that out loud. Terry, some may not agree, but I'd like us to sign Dyer. He would bring experience and fight to the back line, and he'd be good in the air. And he can also play centre back as well as centre midfield. That cat is actually a Zuma fan, believe it or not. Sushi forgave Zuma after he left. I think that brings. When did we sign this Sushi fella? Cat people putting out fire. There we go. That means we've come to the end of the show. When we start talking about cats and Sushi's made an appearance, that means we're done for, doesn't it? Look, people, it's been wonderful being back. Wonderful having you all watching me. Really, really, really appreciate it. West Ham Weekly will be back every Monday from this point on until the end of the season. And someone asked me, if we go down, if we do go down to the Championship, will I give up my channel? And I'm like, why would I give up the channel? You know, West Ham is forever, isn't it? You know, doesn't matter whether we're in the Championship or not. And so this will be still here next season, whatever league we're in. So thank you all very much. Really, really good to be back. Really, really, I've missed the chat. I've missed the banter. So really appreciate that as well. Look out for the shows I'll do during the week. There'll be a couple of shows coming up about transfers and latest news and the latest Paqueta saga, etc. So do watch out for that. And like I said, if you're new to the channel, first time you're watching, or if you have watched me before and yet to become a subscriber, click on that QR code. It allows you to become a subscriber free of charge. Click the like button, click the hype button. And if you want to be generous, you can click the membership button after you've subscribed. And you can get more content for $1.99 a month, and all the money goes to Prostate Cancer UK. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. We won a game, people. We won a game. Up next, Spurs. That'll be another game we would have won. So I'll be even happier next Monday night. Have a good evening and have a good rest of the week.